guys, welcome back to One More Ridge podcast. I'm your host, Brad Foster, and today we'll be talking about Colorado and applying for Colorado to get you out in the field. Colorado is a weird state, and I'm not just talking about getting your drugs down at the store and then having to go on the black market to get your eggs or your raw milk. I'm talking about the draw process to get you out in the field to go hunting this year. First off, the thing with Colorado is they make you buy what they call is a qualified license. And I say this because a lot of people aren't going to use it. So, for instance, a qualified license is going to be a spring turkey turkey license, which the deadline already passed. You could do over-the-counter turkey license, but you got to buy that before you apply for big game. Or you can do a small game license, and that's your coyotes, that's your foxes, that's your bobcats, all that kind of stuff. It goes under the small game, and you have to buy one of these qualified licenses before you enter the draw. And in the process is you can do a qualified license right before you apply for your big game species, and it all comes out into your cart. We'll get into it first. But first, we're going to get into the price of your qualified license. For a resident, your small game or your turkey license is going to be $36.68. Quick little, it's just one of those to get you more interested into Colorado and being outdoors. Residents is going to be $36.68. Non-resident is going to be $101.64. That is a lot to just put in for the draw. But Colorado is a have to hunt residents and non-residents. Because if you haven't hunted, Colorado is a great state to get into. So before we go any further, we'll jump into our first species. I'll spin the wheel here and we'll see where it lands. And then we'll go into depth on that species. So first animal up is the elk. Elk are very, very popular in the state of Colorado. It is the largest elk herd in all of the world and America. They have roughly over 380,000 elk in the state of Colorado. Colorado is fun because you can pick and choose what weapon you like to go with. They have rifle seasons, they have muzzleloader seasons, and they have archery seasons. We will start with archery season just because that's the first part of the year is in the fall is when archery season comes first. So, archery season, you can hunt with a longbow, compound bow, or a crossbow. The crossbow has a little asterisk by it because that is if you have a disability, you have to go through the Department of Parks and Wildlife to get your disability approved to go hunting with a crossbow. So that is up to you to go through those steps to make sure that you qualify for a crossbow before you start applying for archery season. Archery season opens up the 2nd of September and goes all the month through September. September 2nd through the 30th, I believe. So there are so many great units to hunt archery with 0 points. Non-residents, they just passed it that you have to apply for the draw. Residents, they have a lot of units that are over-the-counter tags, meaning you could go to your local archery shop, Walmart, outdoor store like Jack's, stuff like that, to go there September, grab a tag, and go hunting. I think everyone should have all 3 weapons under their belt in case they need to use different seasons at different times of the year. So I highly recommend you go into the bow shop, picking up a bow. If it's a longbow, if you want to do your typical longbow shot, or if it's a compound. I actually just picked up a compound last year, and I'm hoping to use it in Wyoming this year. So start with archery. After you pay for your qualified license for a resident for elk, it is only $8 to apply. So you spend your $36 for your qualified license, and then it's only $8 for elk to apply. And if you put in for the draw and you draw your tag that you want to do, after that it is $67.86. So for under $70 is you can get a lot of poundage of meat in your freezer. So archery license is September 2nd through the 30th. So you could also, if you don't want to do archery, you could do muzzleloader. Muzzleloader is usually in the second week of September. For elk, that is peak rut season. Rut is where they're mating. The elk are bugling. The cows are meowing. Like it's a great time to be in the woods. The leaves are changing. It's amazing to be in the woods in muzzleloader season. I love it. And I mean, $67 for a muzzleloader tag is pretty dang good. For muzzleloader, the only asterisk is you can't have any power of scope. It has to be all open sights, iron open sights. You could do your typical inline, or you can do the old Revolutionary War with the cap and ball and all that. For elk, it does have to be above a 50 caliber. So keep that in mind. Don't just go out there and buy the first 45 caliber, because that's a lot of inlines are like that for whitetail hunting, but it's got to be a bigger caliber. Then we'll talk about rifle season for elk. Rifle season, there's quite a bit of differences when it comes to other states, because there's multiple seasons. There's first rifle season, second rifle season, third, fourth. All of those have different times of year. Usually first rifle is October, first part of October. Second rifle is mid to end. Third rifle is end of October, 1st of November. And then fourth is usually towards mid-November, end of November. So it kind of depends on what you're thinking of hunt, like what time of year works best for you. You might catch the end of the rut for first rifle, but don't get your hopes up. It just kind of depends on the weather, stuff like that. Second and third rifle, it's a hard hunt to draw, just because the elk, they're going to be all soloed up. The bachelor groups or bulls. The cows are going to be hanging out by themselves with spikes and young bulls. Also, there's second and third rifle has another over-the-counter unit that you could, or tags you can buy. You could go to your local Walmart for second and third season and buy those tags. Non-residents can do that as well. For non-residents, it's going to be $825 for you. And honestly, you can fly from anywhere around the world, and then come to Colorado during those times in October and November for second and third rifle season and go elk hunting, which is super cool because nowhere else has that. Utah has a couple general tags like that, but they're like spike tags or cow tags. This is the only state that you can legitimately get in your car from Texas or Nevada or Florida, anywhere you want to be, and come out to Colorado and pick up a tag and go hunting. Super cool. First season is draw, fourth season is draw. A lot of the four seasons you could pick up on the second draw. It just kind of depends on stuff like that, who returns it. Another thing is, we'll get into the second draw and the leftover tags at the end, and then we'll go from there. So we'll spin the wheel again, and then we'll land on our next species on what we want to talk about. And the next species is antelope. All right, antelope to apply after you get your qualified license. Again, it's $8. $8 to apply for residents, $11 to apply for non-residents. Antelope are fun, just because antelope, they're an easier animal to hunt, like an easier big game animal to hunt. The hardest part with antelope is finding land to hunt them on. Majority of the land on the east side of I-25 is going to be all private. There's some, state lands or national grasslands that are tucked away that you can hunt. It's going to be really pressured. So if you're going to come out and hunt antelope, make sure you have somebody that has private land. This is just a suggestion, not what you should do, but just look for somebody that has some private land that you're able to come out and hunt on their land for antelope, because antelope, they like the prairies more than they do the mountains. And then the more accessible units, they take more points to draw, 6, 7, 15 points for antelope. Coming from Wyoming, I feel like that's insane to wait 15 years to hunt antelope when there's almost as many antelope as people in Wyoming. So I was always seeing antelope. Again, antelope are just super fun to hunt. I love hunting antelope. There's nothing. I think I like antelope meat as well. To me, they're pretty tasty. Let's see if I could look over some notes real quick. Adult tags are $49 for a resident. Youth is only $18. So if you want to get your youth out there to go hunting, it's great state to do it. Non-residents, you're looking at $494, $126 dollars for a non-resident. The cool thing with that, if when you apply and you draw your tag, it includes a fishing license. So if you come out, it's a yearly fishing license. So if you do a lot of trips to Colorado to go scouting or something like that, you could do some fishing as well. Yeah, and that's basically antelope. We'll go to our next species here soon. That next species is going to be Rocky Mountain Bighorn sheep. Bighorn sheep are fantastic. It's Colorado state animal. The thing with Rocky Mountain Bighorn sheep, though, is their system is very weird because you have to put in for 3 years. So your first 3 years, you are just buying a preference point. After that third year, so the fourth year, that is when you're able to actually put in for the draw and get your name in there. So even if this is your first year of thinking about it, buy a preference points for Rocky Mountain sheep if that's what you want to do, because it's going to take it's going to be a 4-year investment. That's all it is. $8 to apply to buy your point. It's kind of very similar to the next species that I'm going to say. Spin the wheel. It's going to be a moose. Same thing. You got to put in for 3 years for points before you can even be put in for the draw for a moose tag. It makes sense. It's their way of collecting money to make sure that you're invested in this long term. Moose are very cool animals. They got introduced here in Colorado and they're thriving right now, which is always a great thing to have. Is the Cyrus moose is a big deer. I personally haven't harvested any moose, but I see them a lot and I love them. All right, we're going to move on to our next species. Spin the wheel. And we're talking about deer. Colorado has some of the best trophy hunting in the West for deer. Mostly mule deer. Mule deer are cool too. They have your archery season, which is September 2nd through the September 30th. Muzzleloader is the same time as elk, usually the middle of September. They also have a high, what do they call? Early rifle. It's almost end of September, 1st of October. Those are where you go up to the high wilderness peaks and you're chasing deer that are in velvet. Super cool. Because in muzzleloader, you could shoot a deer that's in velvet. We did one a couple years ago, and Jen and I were both able to shoot our deer they were both still in velvet. We did a European mount. They look super cool. To apply for deer, again, residents $8, non-residents $11. Same price as your antelope. For a resident, it's $49.14. For non-residents, it's $4.94. Again, you get a fishing license with that. Youth deer is $18.19. Non-resident youth is 126.16. To be honest, that's really reasonable especially for what Utah just came out with. Utah is trying to charge $800+ for their deer tags, which is crazy to me. Hunting is getting expensive, so if you're able to get into it now and fall in love with it, then when you get to that tag that's more expensive, you'll have more knowledge to go after it. There's a lot of good units to go with 0 points for deer. How elk had 4 seasons, first, second, third, fourth. There's still a first season for elk or for deer. They just passed that not very long ago, but it's a lot of it's for does, and for the deer populations is higher, and they need to restrict a lot of their deer populations. But mostly there's a lot of tags for second, third, and fourth. Third and fourth is during either third is pre-rut and fourth is during their rut. And so third and fourth tags are harder to draw and better units. You can still find really good deer in units that take 0 points. It's just finding those units, what you feel comfortable, and how many miles you put on your boots to get back away from people and use some good hilltops to be glassing. And that's basically deer. They have whitetail as well. Whitetail is more on the eastern side of the state. South, Colorado Springs has some as well. A lot of those are unlimited. Personally, I don't think Colorado likes their whitetail because whitetail outrun the mule deer populations. So that could be a reason why Colorado is kind of pushing for more whitetail to be harvested and kind of pushed out of Colorado. Even though on the eastern side, I've seen some monster whitetail pictures. So it's all if you want to come to Colorado and get a whitetail permit, there's a lot of those as well. Let's spin the wheel and let's see what our next species are going to talk about, because we have a few more to talk about. And the next one's going to be mountain goat. Mountain goat is very similar to Rocky Mountain sheep and moose. You got to put in for 3 years, and the 4th year you're into the draw. Rocky Mountain sheep are fun here just because you see them everywhere. Colorado has a lot of 14,000 foot mountains, call them 14ers. And that's where a lot of the mountain goats like to hang out, is they just kind of chill with the hikers. That's why on a lot of the regulations is you can only hunt mountain goats Monday through Friday and not hunt them on Saturday and Sunday, because it's so overpopulated with the hikers, the mountain bikers, those kind of people that are going to try to enjoy Colorado for its activities as well. You're out there enjoying hunting. They're out there enjoying, all their stuff. They have a couple archery only units as well. Just kind of read the brochure and kind of feel where you want to be at. But if mountain goat hunting is something that you're interested in, it's an investment for 4 years. So you gotta put in now and then keep your fingers crossed for the 4th year. There are people that have drawn the moose, the bighorn sheep, and the mountain goat on their 4th year. A lot of people are upset about it, but you can do it. I have faith. Let's spin the wheel and let's talk about the next species. All right, the next species is going to be a bear. All right, so Colorado has 4 different types of bears. In Colorado, in the state of Colorado, there are 4 different types of bears. There's a grizzly bear, there's a polar bear, there is a special gummy bear that we have here, and then there's black bears. The polar bear and the grizzly bear are found in the zoos here in Colorado. We have great zoos, the Denver Zoo and the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo down in Colorado Springs. Okay, you can see them there. You can't hunt them. The special gummy bear is you can go to any shop with the green plus sign on the window to get that special gummy bear. So then we're going to talk about black bears. Black bears, you can hunt them in the state of Colorado. The black bear populations in the state of Colorado has been on the rise quite a bit. On the brochure, when you're looking at your elk or deer tags, there's actually a bear print on certain units because they want to help control the populations a little bit better when it comes to bears, because the bears are getting too high. They're getting into trash. They're killing more species than they should be and stuff like that. Those units are super easy to draw a bear tag no matter what. Okay. So if you happen to be like, I just want to go bear hunting, look for the special units on the elk and deer brochure that has the bear print on them, because those are going to be your better chance to draw with a bear tag. So I picked up a couple bear tags on a few years. I have never shot a bear, but it's always, it's always something that would be interesting to me. Just to try bear and see how it is. I know a lot of people that that's all they do is hunt bears. You could pick a season just like elk or deer, first, second, rifle, muzzleloader, archery, to go hunt bears. They have seasons for those. So it's up to you on what you want to do. Come out here for bears. And for residents, $61. Non-residents, $294. This one's really cool. So there's 125 units in the state of Colorado that you have a 50 to 100% chance to draw a bear tag this year. So if you put in, there's 125 different areas that you can go. For non-residents, there's 117 areas that you can go. To me, that's really cool. That means that there's so much variety where you can go bear hunting. And so that's bears. We'll move into our next topic. So we'll spin the wheel and then we'll see where we land. So we landed on wolves. Wolves you cannot hunt in Colorado. They are in the process of, quote, reintroducing the wolves into Colorado. To me, I wanted to bring this topic up just because wolves are always controversial. To me, I think every species deserves to be on the platform if they're there based for the right reasons. For me, Colorado did this at a very wrong way. They went from the ballot box. They call it ballot box biology, so they put it on the ballot to vote for, to get wolves back into Colorado. They skipped steps. They went behind the people of Colorado's backs because a lot of the officials didn't want them, and it wasn't science-based. It was all based off what the people wanted. It wasn't based off science. And so that was just a quick topic I wanted to bring up. If this happens to any other states, make sure you do your research. Base your opinions off science, not just your gut reaction, because it has been a mess. The wolves have been killing a lot of livestock, and then they've been dying themselves from hunters or ranchers and stuff like that. They've gone up to Wyoming and been shot up there. So it's not very fair to the wolf. It's not very fair to the people that didn't want them. So just do your research and don't go for ballot box biology. And I'll spin the wheel, and then we'll do the last species. And I like this species quite a bit. It's desert sheep. To me, desert sheep is a have to apply, especially for a first time hunter, because desert sheep is all random. You pay your $8 to apply for a resident, $11 for a non-resident, and you get put into the drawing for a desert bighorn sheep. The odds are not good. I think for residents on some units, it's a 0.4%. Non-residents, they release one tag. You just got to find that right tag that they release for non-residents. They're fun just because they're out on the western part of the state. Desert bighorn sheep, and I mean, you could apply for a U tag as well. It's all the same. It's all random. Desert sheep, they're all random. You could put in, you buy your qualified license, you put in, you can put in for the draw. And if you draw your first year, heck yeah. Also, if somebody draws, I would be more than happy to go with you and pack this sheep out. So that's Colorado for you. That's the first draw. The first draw date is going to be April 1st, April Fool's Day. I know that's fast. I had some technical difficulties. My phone broke. This is how I'm recording it on my phone. But April 1st is the due date. You remember, qualified license. If you don't put in for the draw, there are other options. So for whatever reasons, if you put in for the draw and you draw your tag, but you don't pay for your tag fee, your $68 for your elk fee, that goes back into a pot. That pot they call it the second draw. For the second draw, they print out a whole list of people that didn't pay or tags that people didn't put in for. So the second draw is open to anybody. You don't have to apply for the first draw to be in the second draw. The thing with the second draw, though, is that youth get the preference. So if you have a youth hunter and if you want a good unit, wait for the second draw. Because the youth percentage chance is higher than the second draw than it is on the first draw. So if you have a youth, that's the way to do it. If you don't draw anything on the first draw or the second draw, in August it comes out, it's a leftover list. It's every tag, very similar to the second draw. Whatever people didn't want to put in for, their payment got rejected, whatever it is, they have a leftover list. And Wednesday around 10 o'clock, that list goes live in August. And it's first come, first serve. You got to be quick. If you see a tag that you're like, oh, I could do this tag, jump on it. And it doesn't take any preference points. So I know this is your first year hunting and you want to get into it, but if you happen to build up preference points, it wouldn't take any preference points. But the first draw is not your only chance to draw a tag. You've got first draw, then you got your second draw, then you got leftover list. And leftover list goes from August all the way through September, all the way through October, and all the way through November until the last season closes. There are even some late tags that go through December. If you happen to jump on those ones are super hard because they're either on private or there's no animals on that in that unit. So there's different opportunities in Colorado. Great elk hunting. Most elk of any state in the West in the world. Great mule deer hunting. There's some big old buck deer that come out here. Antelope hunting, it's decent. You just have to find the right piece of property to hunt on, or know somebody, or have a few points. Bear hunting, if you're obsessed with bears, bearskin rugs, this is the state to do it just because there's a lot of bears out here. Moose, goats, mountain goats, Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep. You got to do your time. You got to wait your 4 years to put in for your points, but it's worth it. And so then that's Colorado. April 1st is the draw date. If you guys need help, let me know. Send me an email. I'll do the email up here. Instagram, one more Ridge at Instagram. Anything else, just let me know. Next state I'm going to be doing is going to be Montana. Their due date is also April 1st. So we'll do a quick turnaround and we'll do Montana. So thanks, guys. Take care and have a great day.